Welcome to another episode of Film Breakdown. Today, my guest is...
Hey everyone, it's me, Andrew, and thank you, Murel, for having me on your show.
It's always wonderful having you here, buddy. Alright, so our topic today is on Code 8.
Directed by Jeff Chan. It's based on his 2016 short film with the same title, as it's more of a more realistic approach to superpower films.
Yes. Alright, so how do you think that every single person got their power?
For me, to be honest, I feel like this film is heavily inspired by the X-Men franchise, where people were born with these powers. I could be wrong, but it's just like this. It doesn't really outright explain how these powers, like who created them, who gave it to them, or anything. It's just these people were born with them, and then when they become more recognizable, they become more observant by their government.
That's actually a pretty good idea of going around the concept of how they got their powers. Um, Personally, what I think is that, there are some that genetically get it from their parents, because remember, the main character had two parents with powers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, had, because, spoiler alert, his mother dies.
Dude, I thought you were supposed to tell them that their dad died first.
Well, they both died, okay? They
Everyone's
both
dead.
died. They did. But yeah, there's a lot of them that both get powers and stuff like that because of genetics from their parents and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then there are some cases within that universe that most likely do happen. We're not 100% sure yet. That they just some sort of it's kind of like a genetic trait where some people have genetic different kind of genetics from their parents and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That mush together to make a mutation. So it's kind of like a mutated power where no one else in your family has it, but you do, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So
Kind of like where in some families there's kids who have dwarfism or epilepsy, but there's no genetics around in that family, right?
right.
To warrant saying, oh, this runs in the family. No, it's something with the genetics that basically grows within them, and it's not passed down from anyone else.
Yeah,
Right?
It's like I said. They mostly don't really address how it came to be, which is kind of like a good idea because it's more about the characters that you're focused on rather than where they got their powers from.
That is true. Or what could easily happen is that maybe someone in the government just put some nuclear waste within water supply, and that got
purified,
but the plutonium or whatever, right?
Right.
Got mixed in with the rest of the water supply and just gave certain people for certain genetic code certain powers, and it just went from generation to generation that way.
Michael, no offense, but you just perfectly describe of how the 2000s Marvel Ultimate Universe worked. Because in that comic run, the government gave the mutants their powers, which is kind of like a main critique for one of their comics.
We're supposed to be taking this universe, not talking about how messed up either Marvel or DC is.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Alrighty. Do you want to get to one of your topics?
Okay. Here's a good question. This film has familiar tone from the movie District 9. Do you agree?
District 9 is the guy who he'll automatically turn into like a cockroach
Yeah,
alien, right?
but the whole film is about the whole government trying to be a servant of the alien life forms that came to the planet out of nowhere.
Yeah. The cockroach people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I know which one. I
yeah,
know which one you're talking about. Yes, and yeah, it did have like sort of like a familiar tone kind of thing,
yeah.
but also like the main attribute from District 9 to this film is that this guy always had his power, right?
Right.
And he was slowly upgrading.
Yeah.
District 9, he was just a normal person that was then turning into an alien.
Now I do
There,
apologize for it. When I meant by familiar tone of District 9, I mean for how the government is portrayed in this movie.
yeah. All right.
So they, no matter like how like in District 9, it's more of the aliens. Their ship is just standing over the area, and the government's just trying to make sure that they don't get back on board. And this movie, it's more of the government trying to control the people who have more dangerous powers than, say, a standard military rifle or something like that. So it's more like the governments in both movies are portrayed to be aware of their new surroundings.
Yeah, I can see that. Basically, it's discrimination from other people, right? Discrimination.
Yeah, because
And that goes to one of my topics as well, but continue on.
no, it's okay. It's just when it's just more of actually. Let's go on to your question. Sorry.
This whole film, just like District 9, all right, but let's stick with this film, heavily implies on a lot of discrimination and stuff, right?
Right. Right.
Because when you deeply look into it, is that there are a certain group of people with powers, and then there's a certain group of people without powers,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And these people with powers, they have special abilities. Of course, like powers and stuff, right? So blah blah blah. But like the thing is that like it's all chosen. I'm pretty sure it was all random and stuff, right?
Right. Like
Randomized, but also through genetics. And the only thing that we can see from that nowadays, right?
Right.
Randomized and or through genetics is a disability, right?
Right.
And people with disabilities get discriminated a lot, right?
Right.
Well, at least back in the olden days and stuff, right?
Yep.
And like still sometimes nowadays, which is horrible. But still, like it's just like I've watching the whole film a bunch of times. There's a bunch of like bits and points that I saw that it's like, yeah, that's definitely discrimination upon a certain either a certain race, certain person, person with like this is basically just like
Allegory for.
pardon?
It's allegory for discrimination.
Yeah, basically just yeah, it's just that and stuff like that. Don't
Yeah.
you agree?
Because yeah, in the film they do say that the government is trying to push the people with powers out of their jobs so they can go away. With all the like self-producing construction crews and security drones, it's becoming harder for people with powers to have a normal day life.
Yeah, that is true. But like also when you think of it, is that how would the modern world work with superpowers? Like how would our world be like with people who have that sort of power?
Well, to be honest, we wouldn't be saving the world, we'll be just destroying it even more. Because, let's be honest, if terrorist group or military group or any people who want to hurt people with superpowers, they can do it.
Yeah, that is true. But remember, there's always people with those powers who want to be there and stop them, right?
Yeah,
So there will be a power struggle, and there will definitely be a lot of cities and whatnot, right, being destroyed because of those people.
yeah. Have you ever played Infamous?
I have.
You can like see some of the tone, like some of like ideas coming into this film, right?
Yeah, I do. I
With
do. I
the
do.
main characters, like the main character alone is more like the first game's protagonist, Cole, where Connor is like becoming more like reliant on his powers to just make some crime, but whereon he tries to do the right thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's more like the balance bar between morality with people who have these powers. And
True, true. But like, wouldn't like there will be also a lot of people with these superpowers. Let's say if they had the same power of our protagonist,
yeah,
right, where you could create electricity.
yeah,
Wouldn't he? Wouldn't people like him be way better energy, like way better at making like uh, power and stuff, like powering everyday electronics? Wouldn't they be able to like be at the grid, giving off electricity and into a generator and stuff like that until it needs to be topped up again by another one of these electric people, right?
right. Well,
Wouldn't they be able to like help save us because we are running out of renewable energy. We're running out of a lot of stuff. Soon it's just gonna be what sunlight, and even with that, with our ozone layer and stuff like that, it's gonna be hard to come by.
yeah, well, they could do that, but sometimes people might want to just use it for their own personal gain, and sometimes maybe people with powers would try to work with the government to stop those people. It's just, like I said, balance between the morality bar.
True, true, true. Like what kind of like ability from this universe would you like?
Honestly, it's kind of a cheating, but from freezing time.
Freezing time would actually be a great ability
Yeah,
because when you freeze time, you wouldn't need super speed because you can just walk there and no time would pass.
yeah, but also that could be causing some problems because the government might want to take you by force and ask you to, say, assassinate someone just because they couldn't. They're not part of the government's agenda.
Yeah, that is true. There's always the government agendas of people of them wanting the powers and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it could
Personally,
also
what I
be.
would do
Oh,
is
sorry.
like I would love what's the power? Energy manipulation and stuff. And energy manipulation can either come within electricity, sunlight, basically anything that falls under the category for energy and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, like, if, like, let's just say there's, like, a nuclear explosion about to go off and stuff like that, you can help guide the energy to somewhere safer so it can be, like you can, like, either guide it or, like, try to, like, purify it as much as you can and stuff, right?
yeah.
Like, where, like, you have, like, no set restriction on the power, so that's why I said energy manipulation.
That's a good question, Michael, because I think that could be went into our next question. Could
Hmm.
all abilities come with a price, like cancer or brain tumors or body dysfunctions, stuff like that?
That is true. That is true because we do see the main character's mom, right?
Yeah.
She did have like what, a brain tumor
Uh,
and or a cancer.
yeah.
It was one of the two. One of the two.
It's I think it's around brain cancer that
Yeah, yeah,
caused
yeah.
her abilities to sometimes like her powers to act out of nowhere.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like she did have like some sort of control over her powers, but then other times like she had no control to where she ended up losing her job
Yeah.
and stuff. But yeah, like the abilities and stuff like that, I could see definitely a price. Like
Yeah.
if it was like what I said, energy manipulation. Yeah, that would definitely because like the energy would have to go through my body and everything else, right?
Yeah, who knows? It
So
might
like
cause you to have like stuff.
cancer or something.
Yeah, or hell, even like say like someone who can telepathically control like machines. They can lose control of their body over time.
That is true. That is true. Become like a vegetable, but still able to control the machines and
Yeah.
stuff. Just not able to control their own body.
Right.
But yeah, like every power, every all that kind of stuff, it all comes with a price,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Like if you were able to fly and stuff,
Yeah.
then you'll automatically end up losing the ability to walk because you've used your ability too many times that you lose the leg muscles. So it's more of around the physical component and not of the power component.
Right.
Because the powers are just there. It's just your body is not able to adjust to it and adapt to it of
Yeah.
not being used that much or being used too much to where it takes in that power, doesn't know what to do with it. So then it takes something like let's just say skin cells or blood cells. They automatically become mutated with the power that you ingested, and it starts to break down, and you automatically get like let's just say an uncurable cancer or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because as we've seen in the film as well, right?
Right.
There was that one lady who was taking drugs, right?
Right.
Where she could heal other people.
But for the
But
price, she had to.
yeah.
Those wounds go on to her.
Yeah, the wounds, but also showed that she took their pain, their hurt away
Yeah.
by giving it to herself.
Yeah.
So that was like a main look of when I was watching the film, because it did show that the abilities do come with a price, right?
Yeah.
And as we kind of also saw when the main character saw that she could do it, he basically became obsessed, trying to get her, trying to win her to go and have her save his mom.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So what you could also say is that it could also be a psychological price too. Because let's say you are a crime lord, right?
Yeah.
And you have the best power in your country or whatever, right? Then you will start thinking, oh, you're all high and everything else like that, blah blah blah. You can do whatever you want. So that's like a mental disease as well.
Right.
Thinking that you can do almost anything, and then when something does end up happening, you could easily slip up.
Yeah.
And then basically everything goes to shit. Your empire is not there anymore, and now you have nothing to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
All right. So, should we expect these kind of scenarios in films happen in real life? Like,
Probably.
like not power related, but more like well, it could be power related,
More,
but
no,
like how about like government related, like
Yeah.
of how the government was there and how they acted towards people.
it's a possible like eventuality because of how like dangerous some of these powers could be. Like the government might step in and try to at least control it.
That is true.
Yeah,
We also see like a lot nowadays and stuff like that. The government is already trying to control a lot of people, right?
Yep.
In many ways, either through like
propaganda,
propaganda, through
spying,
posts on like social media, and or through like an army kind of like scenario, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like we will hopefully never be at the part where they have robots coming to us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
We'll hopefully never ever get to there. Like we
will.
We do have flying drones and stuff like that. We do have like self-driving cars and stuff like that, but hopefully never robots coming to our doors to say like we're here to inspect your whatever, blah 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 and shit, right?
It's only a matter of time, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope that it doesn't happen and stuff, right?
Yeah. Now, our final question for tonight would be: would higher threat powers users be arrested or forced into service?
Now that's actually a pretty good idea and or theory and stuff, right?
Yeah, because
we do see in the film a lot of them have to be into work or they get arrested, right? For being who they are.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them who are like, let's just say strong, so they go into construction. There's a lot of them who have certain abilities that need to be in a certain type field to make life good for them, but also good for people who don't have this power.
Yeah, like
because if it's like a normal person like you and I who don't have any superpowers, right?
Right.
We cannot do what they do because it will kill us.
Yeah.
Like if we were on a construction site, we cannot carry 500 pounds just on our back.
Right.
But someone with super strength can do it with one hand.
Yeah.
So it's better for us and better for them because we're not putting our lives in danger and they're getting paid.
Now, when I asked, when I made this question, it's more like how would say we talk about what kind of powers we would have and how they would affect other people. What if like some of these people with say invisibility or mind control would be either arrested and put somewhere where nobody would be harmed by them, or would the government force them into being one of their soldiers? Because
what I would say is that like most likely they'd probably end up doing both, either be arrested or work for them kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like
because the government would say, oh, you don't want to work for us? Well, you might use it to kill a bunch of people or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna lock you up. Bye.
Yeah, it's
and
kind
or
of like
if,
it's kind of like the opposite of what the boys were telling about, like putting superheroes into the military, and it's kind of it's the complete opposite because thought is making the heroes for profit. But here, these people are just trying to live their normal lives with these superpowers. They don't want to do anything with, say, going to war or being an assassin or anything.
Yeah, that is true because because it's all around morale. Like you do have this power and stuff, right? But does that give you a right to use it on someone else?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like, are you allowed? Do you want to use, let's say,
are you willing to kill someone just
like
for
like
your
if I had like I said, like I would have like the energy manipulation and stuff. Would I want to use my energy manipulation on nuclear substances to put it on a bunch of people to give them cancer and die?
Right.
I wouldn't because it's not on a moral plane that you should do, right?
Right.
It's not morally accepted. It's not a thing that should be done and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like that's the one thing that they never really touched on in this film.
Well,
right?
yeah, but this is more like a modern, like realistic take
Yeah,
on the
like
superpowers.
yeah, true.
I mean, they're
True.
not like Marvel or DC or even The Boys. They're just trying to tell a story of what could happen if these normal people had these powers.
Yeah, that is true. Like yeah.
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 Okay, I think we're done.
Alrighty, so that's the ending of this episode of Film Breakdown, episode 3 of Code 8. Andrew, where can everyone find you?
Like last time, you can find me on my YouTube channel, and that's about it so far.
You can find myself, Murel Koval, on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Reddit. All the links will be in the description below. And also, I would like to shout out a few little things. Murel Koval over at Anime Podcasters. My character drawing was created by GoPro Kyo. You can find his information in the description below.